It's just a cold, wet, miserable, rainy day today. So we're just basically hanging out here in the shop and talking about dreams, gun dreams in particular. And many of you know I recently got a new house and I've been working on it, remodeling it. It's completely gutted right now. Yeah, I've been busy. All right, but part of what I'm doing is I'm adding an addition onto it. Well, one of the rooms I'm adding in the addition is going to be a gun room. All right, I'm excited about that. Never had a gun room. Okay. What part of the issue here is I've never had a gun room. So I'm thinking now about, okay, well, how do I want this laid out? All right, and this isn't going to be the ultimate gun room. I don't think there is no such thing. It's going to be the ultimate gun room for me. Okay, so I want the gun safe gone. It served its purpose. I hate a gun safe though. Having to get to a rifle in the back and dig it through everything, and I like to see my rifles and shotguns. I like to see my firearms. Okay, so I want a traditional built-in gun rack in the wall. Guns on display, full display. All right, now I get the security concerns, but I can make this room secure. I can make it as secure as any gun safe. If anybody wants in there, they're going to have to come through a wall or the floor, and if they're that determined, they can get through a safe. Okay, so forgetting security, all right, and I want it, very traditional looking, which I appreciate antique furniture and how they used to make things. So I tried doing some research on traditional gun rooms from the past. I know that was a thing. I know a lot of places had them, nice homes and stuff, and I can't find a single one on the internet to learn from here, to get inspiration from. All right, so I'm just having to figure this out as I go, and this is the time for us to talk about it. And I say us because, hey, I'm looking forward to hearing some ideas for things I haven't thought of. I've never had a gun room before. I'm sure some of you had or have seen some nice ones. Okay, so I'm looking for some ideas from some of you and planning this out. And since I am fixing to start building on the room, I need to have the details in place now. Okay, and it's not going to be a huge room by any means. It's going to be, I think, 13 by 20. Okay, so I mean, decent size. Big for me. Okay, and I'm going to put a closet in there, so that's going to cut down on the room some. So we'll say 13 by 14. Okay, again, for me, that's just to have for a dedicated gun room. That's plenty. More than I've ever had for that before. So how would you lay this out? That's what I'm getting at, and including the reloading stuff. Okay, and we'll take a look at my reloading setup today, just how it's organized, which my bench is a mess right now. It's an absolute mess, but keep in mind, I've been wide open carrying tools back and forth and working over there. Anyway, a lot of you have been there before. I'm sure you understand. My shop's looking a little rough, which that's part of what I started out here today doing, was organizing. Okay, and I've gone through this before, but okay, I keep ammo boxes for my bullets. All right, so this is all 30 caliber stuff here, 30-06 in particular. And then I've got another box for 308 and one for all my different calibers. All right, so I also just recently stocked up on a few things. So I need to put a few things away. This is my 303 British box. And since I was just reloading for it, I've got the test loads for that Ruger #1 ready to go. I just hadn't been able to squeeze into time to get to the range for us to do that load testing, but it's coming any day now. All right, so I can put away my bullets that I was just using for it. Okay, and on my reloading bench, let's go take a look at this. By my thinking, the most important part of a reloading bench is the bench itself. It's not the press, it's not anything else, it's the bench. Okay, because the bench is going to determine everything else. For me, I like to stand up when I'm working, reloading. This bench is 37.5 inches tall from the floor to here, which is just perfect for a bench when you're going to be standing up. Okay, and I have been very happy with this standing and working over here. Okay, if I wanted to be seated,
There you go.
my friend Joey that many of you've met, he's got a desk with a really heavy built wood top on it. As a matter of fact, he got it from a plant that me and him both used to work for. But okay, that's worked really well for him, and it being a desk height, it's a lot lower than this. Well, that's made for sitting down. Okay, so that's the first thing I guess we all have to decide. Do we want to be seated while we're loading, or something more bar top height? Okay, and I can set up a bar stool over here. I just prefer to be standing. Okay, and then I've got my powder measure mounted to the bench top and press mounted to it. Okay, all that's worked out really well. The top on my bench though is not thick enough. It's not stout enough. I see some movement in my press when I cycle it from the top flexing, which is not hurting anything, and it's perfectly fine. I would just like for it to be a little stouter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do a reloading bench in the room at the gun room that I'm working on. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stick with the bar top height instead of something lower for a seated position. So I guess I'm gonna have to find the space along one wall for something similar to this. One thing different I wanna do though, okay, I want individual drawers. And again, keep in mind, this is what I want. What I want and what I get ain't necessarily gonna be the same thing. So, but what I want, what would be perfect, let me put it that way, or in my opinion would be to have individual drawers that we could slide out and then to really keep things organized. There aren't many big bulk items when it comes to reloading. Powder, brass, bullets, that's about it. Okay, we got tons of little bitty things. Okay, my old cabinet that I built here, it has worked out really well for holding the little individual items, and I might end up just using this in the new room somewhere. It's finished in cedar. I mean, I could do a few things to dress it up a little more, but it looks decent. It served its purpose really well for me. The only place I can say I messed up on this is for the depth of it. I wish I'd made it just a little bit deeper, because on my 1 pound powder kegs, I can't put 2 in a row. It's not deep enough for that. And this is 7 inches deep. Probably should have went 10. So yeah, I could keep this and just do something different with my powder storage anyway. When I originally built this, that's why I built the top the way I did. I had it planned for powder storage. I just thought that would have been enough, which I load more now, more powders. Now, one thing I did do on this bench that, keep in mind, they have plates now that you can attach your press to or accessories and just take the whole plate off and move it. I don't think those were out when I built this bench. Okay, so what I had to do to make it so I could open the cabinet drawers was I actually had to put a cutout here and a hinge in order to open that door. And then I do have a big, massive pull-out drawer right here with really heavy-duty drawer slides on it. Okay, and I could have just put shelves in here. One of the modern things, and I don't like many modern things, but one of them I really like in kitchens now is they got rid of, or on higher end kitchens, they got rid of the just open cabinets underneath your countertop, and they put in big drawers that pull out. That's a convenience there, because nobody wants to get down on their knees and climb way back up in there and dig stuff out. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind too. I see a lot of reloading benches where it's just open under here, and that works great with the way I do the ammo cans. Okay, I use these for a lot of storage. Okay, the open benches would work great for the ammo cans. Just have them under there, or whatever kind of storage container. Okay, but I think I really want to go with the drawers, dedicated drawer space. Hadn't worked out exactly how, and I also need to do something for my bullets. Okay, and these get heavy. All right, so I'm going to need some kind of really stout cabinet system. I don't know, I'm really going to have to scratch my head on how big a space do I actually need for bullets. I very rarely have a whole lot of any one type. I have quite a few of different types. So I've got a good many 30 caliber bullets. All right, but I don't have many 150 grain hot cores. Maybe a couple boxes like this. Okay, so that's just something I'll keep in mind on the layout. And one other thing, again, absolutely nothing wrong with the bench being open, but the reason I put in the doors on this and wanted doors here, the reason I have doors on this cabinet, okay, that keeps dust out. And when you have an open reloading bench, if it's in a workshop type area, not in the house, generally there's a lot of dust and stuff that goes along with that. This is my wood shop. This is where I do all my woodworking stuff. Directly behind this camera, there's a table saw. It puts out some sawdust. All of this was to keep everything from getting covered in sawdust and protect things like my scales and so forth. And we want that stuff clean. So that's the sort of stuff I'm thinking about right now and dreaming about. Hey, I'm looking forward to this. All right, but I am really looking forward to hearing some ideas from some of you on what have you seen that you thought that was a great idea, or what did you do personally that, hey, this really worked out great as far as reloading bench setup, storage, ammo, components, ammo too, all of that good stuff. And a built-in gun rack. I mean, that's something we don't see often anymore. And it's not like I have many examples out there to look at to get ideas from. Okay, and I'm to the point now I need to start getting really specific on this stuff. When we start construction, we need to know what we're going to do. We don't build a kitchen and then decide, okay, I'm going to put the sink over here and the stove over here and the refrigerator over here. We need to know that ahead of time. Same way on the gun room. Okay, I need to know the height of my bench. When I actually go to build this, I need to know exactly what the height's going to be. I need to have this planned out ahead of time. Okay, so that's why I'm looking for ideas and things now, just to figure out how to incorporate that or build on it or whatever. Okay, and one of the things I am thinking of in there is to have an island in front of my gun rack, which the biggest reason for that is for when I'm working on a firearm or something like that, setting one up. Having an island's really convenient. My woodworking bench here, my joiner's bench, I never thought it, but it has come in really handy for doing videos. Okay, the problem with the bench against the wall, I can't put a camera on the other side. There's not enough space, so therefore it's really hard to show you what I'm doing. It's worked out perfect, so maybe an island in the new room, gun cleaning station on it, that type of thing. Yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas, spitballing ideas right now. And it's got to work for camera so that I can film while I'm doing it. And this is something else. Okay, this is the Simple Living channel, and myself personally, I would be happy from now on with just a 4-gun set like I talked about in the past, 2 centerfire rifles, a good shotgun, and a good .22, and go hunting. That's it. I'd be fine with that. I had a lot of changes in my life though. I'm allergic to venison now, alpha-gal syndrome. That was a big one for me to deal with, being a dedicated deer hunter. I love everything about the sport. But the purpose was always to get the meat. All right, that deer, it's providing meat for me and mine. All right, well, it's not providing meat for me anymore. All right, well, hey, YouTube seems to have been a blessing in that regard, in that, okay, I get to do more with rifles now. All right, well, YouTube's paying for my rifle collection. I mean, I'm not making much off this. Don't worry, I'm not getting rich off of you watching this by any means. But it pays for a couple of rifles a year and a few supplies. Okay, so I'm very blessed in doing this. I can have a nice gun collection. Not that I ever wanted a gun collection, but hey, life changes for us and we go in new directions. And I've always been fascinated with hunting rifles and love working with them and so forth. And okay, I can't eat venison now, but hey, with YouTube paying for my collection, okay, well, I can do that then. All right. I'm making the most out of the cards I was dealt. How about that? Okay, so I think the gun room's going to go well with that and help me make better videos in the future, which I'm not doing this for YouTube. YouTube could decide to delete all gun channels just like that. All right, so I'm definitely not planning on YouTube in the future. I'm enjoying it. Hey, and I hope y'all are. I hope that's why you watch the videos. You're enjoying it. All right, but I'm definitely not planning my future around YouTube. But it would be nice, helpful, to be able to film in there and it look good and that type of thing. All right, well, anyway, again, I'm just spitballing ideas at this point. Looking forward to hearing from some of you. And I also plan on having a dedicated single station or single stage press. I've heard them called both, single station and single stage. I've seen them called both by press manufacturers. All right, so single stage, I will have at least one in the new gun room. And at some point, I haven't bird hunted in a long time. If I ever get back to that point, which I hope to one day, I might end up with shotgun press for shotgun shells. But again, I'll need to make sure I leave options open. Okay, that's why I'm throwing this out there. Is, again, planning all this out now. I need to make sure I leave myself options in the future. If I had a really small dedicated bench for just us reloading rifle cartridges. All right, well, if I do load shotgun shells later on in the future, I don't have any room to expand. So those are just the type of things I got to keep in mind at this point. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing from some of y'all, and I'm excited about this. God bless and have a great evening.